everyone. I'm Gwen Preston of Resource Maven. We're here at the Metals Investor Forum in May, and I am joined by Rob McLeod of Black Wolf. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Gwen.
So, Black Wolf, new company to the MIF channel. So let's start with, Black Wolf has a sort of foundational value project called Niblack, which we like, but that actually isn't the focus right now for the company. The focus is this really exciting, I should say, vein target that you are getting set to drill this summer. So tell us, when you were up on stage, you were palpably excited about this target. So just do that. Describe the target for us.
Well, sure. It's the best drill target I've ever seen. Like it's a unicorn type target. As a geologist, you live for. It's also one of these things where I probably jinxed it so badly that it's too good to be true.
There is that
But
risk.
it is a 30-meter wide quartz vein that's outcropping, and it's a very challenging place to access in the middle of a cliff. That every sample that we have taken runs between 27 and 37 grams per ton, and it is right adjacent to a famous historic producing mine called Premier that's on the Canadian side of the border. We're literally a couple hundred meters away from the international boundary in Alaska, but part of the same broader geological system. But it's the rare opportunity as an explorationist to put the first drill hole into something. And these are, whether you're an investor or you're an explorer, these are the most important, exciting type of projects to be part of, to find something brand new, not going to drill something that has a zillion holes in it already, but to put the discovery hole into something. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks for the company.
And so there's a few interesting things. Talk a bit about the history of this project, because this is near Stewart, BC, which is like all about gold, like from prospectors to gold panners to people building new mines. Like Stewart is all about gold, and yet this thing, which you have said you drove past a whole bunch of times, was forgotten for many years, even though it was people tunneled through a glacier to mine parts of this back in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, correct. And it's where I couldn't believe that this has been missed. Yeah, it's like the Golden Triangle is, not only for discovery and going back to Murray Pezim and Eskay Creek, or my uncle Don McLeod with Newhawk Resources, which actually ended up becoming Brucejack. And I don't know if I ever told you, Brucejack is actually named after my family.
Oh, I did.
My cousin Bruce McLeod, who recently his company Sabina Resources was acquired, and my grandfather Jack McLeod. But yeah.
There you go, Bruce.
And to quote my uncle, the geologist back in the 80s, were drilling the wrong way. He was very, very upset about that. Sure. But sometimes, so I always make sure we drill in the other direction now, just in case.
Or just drill in a circle, just to be sure.
Yeah, don't trust the science too much. You want to also give luck a good kick at the can. Mm-hmm. But anyways, it's still, whether it's GT Gold, back in 2016 or 17 around there, or recently Goliath Resources, there's discoveries happening all the time. There's M&A happening all the time. My last company, IBM Mining, was acquired by Ascot Resources, who is doing the redevelopment on the Premier project right across the border. And yes, it is like there's, dozens of companies that are working on the Canadian side, and we're the only one on the Alaska side. And the whole reason is just, it's serendipity and being from Stewart. My old neighbor, actually an old timer who grew up in Hyder, gave me the old map that said 100-foot wide vein, gold vein. And I was like, yeah, that's BS, right? Yeah. Like somebody would have done, and 2 aerial tram lines. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And I asked him, and he's like, oh yeah, as a kid, I used to climb up there. It's really, really dangerous. You shouldn't go. So we took a helicopter and we flew over, and you could see the cables going up. And like in the cliff, there's this huge vein. It's all rusty. And, we're sampling boulders that fell down, like right away. I'm like, we have to drill this thing. Mm-hmm. And so very likely geologically, it's part of that same Premier system, which, in Premier's heyday in the 1920s and 30s, it was the richest mine in North America by far. It's like over an ounce per ton gold and 100 times that silver. Very, very rich, profitable, beautiful deposit. So, sometimes it's when things are right in front of our nose, we miss them, right? And same with a lot of my colleagues that work up there. Like, everybody can't believe that this is an undrilled prospect of this quality is still to be found in 2023.
And I think, you just talked about Premier and how it was the richest gold mine in North America. And I think that context really amplifies this target, right? Yes, we've all fallen for, to use a negative perspective, the target that looks good, an outcropping vein, and then you drill it and it peters out. It's not very exciting, whatever. But the geologic terrain that this exists in has demonstrated time and again how insanely rich it can be, right?
Yeah. These deposits where it's, Eskay Creek, which was the richest mine anywhere in the world in the modern era, when it was particularly in the high 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s, to, the spectacular, albeit nuggety grades at Brucejack, to, Premier again, and the history of such a substantial grade. That's what the Golden Triangle is known for. You won't sugarcoat, there's challenges. You get world record snowfall in big mountains, and
Sure.
and you need to use helicopters. So exploration can be pricey, but it's what keeps companies coming back. We see Newcrest was just acquired after they had acquired Pretium by Newmont. There's lots of majors that are working in the area, and these really high grades are globally unique. In fact, it's and there's a good story on our website about these old timers who in the 1920s and 30s literally tunneled through a glacier looking for the source of, back calculating would be 20,000 grams per ton gold samples. So these really, really high grade veins. That's what this area is known for. And on the Alaska side of the border, there's no geological reason. There's been no modern exploration. There's been nothing really done since the 1920s or 30s, and so we're uniquely positioned, not only with Cantu, we got some nice other drill targets out there, but it's the opportunity. Reminds me a bit of Underworld Resources, which was an early success. We put the first drill holes into something, or GT Gold, which we talk about all the time. Was a soil anomaly that turned into the discovery and a big acquisition by Newmont. So hopefully we're going to be the next one. And it's got a great location. It's got a mill that's being built right next to it.
And also, you just mentioned sort of the challenges of the Golden Triangle, the mountains and the helicopter access, and that's true. This is on a cliff, and you have to fly there in a helicopter. But you're close to town. The town has a new assay lab. Like, there's aspects of this that make it not as difficult as a lot of other parts of the Golden Triangle.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, if we were successful to make an economic discovery, there is one river crossing that basically would take you to a brand new operational mill. You turn the other way, and you're in the border communities of Hyder, Alaska, and Stewart, BC.
Yeah.
And so, it really kind of is factored into our whole company's vision, is that any success that we have, there is an immediate synergy with another company and a processing site that you don't have to go through the years to decades of permitting and stuff that can be required. And it's absolutely no problem to take ore from an Alaska project and process it in Canada. There's numerous examples of that happening in British Columbia and between Alaska, Washington State, and other places.
So get out there and drill.
In a couple of weeks, we will be. Some buddies just sent me some photos on the current snow pack.
Okay.
Well, the last thing we need to do, we need to have an archaeologist that goes and assesses the drill sites before we start pad construction. And then, since there is this brand new assay lab in Stewart, they are promising 2-week turnaround. So we could have our initial results in by July.
I will be watching closely.
Oh man, I've been waiting to drill this thing since I first saw it in the helicopter 2 years ago. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Exciting stuff. So that's Black Wolf, exciting target being drilled this summer. Thanks so much for being here.
All right, thanks. And you can visit our website at blackwolfcopperandgold.com.